What is up guys, Andy Forrest Team Runner here. Welcome back to another video, and this is my 2023 running shoe rotation part 1. So I say part 1 because of course we're approaching the end of June 2023, meaning we're nearly 6 months through the year. So what I want to do with today's video is showcase the shoes that I've got this year, that I've been using throughout my training cycles, that have played a massive part in my running shoe rotation. Of course, I want to bring in some of the 2022 versions that have also played a massive role in the first part of this year pretty much. There's still a few I'm using now, but most of the ones I've got on now that I'm using are mainly 2023 releases. So I'll show you the 2022 ones first, and then we'll roll into all the ones from 2023. So if you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content. We'll dive straight in. So let's start with the Saucony trilogy, shall we? The Shift 3, the Speed 3 at the bottom here, and then the Pro 3 at the top. So these are all 2022 releases that I've used or featured heavily this year. The Shift was much more at the start of the year, soaking up some of the easy miles before they moved to my walking shoes. The Speed 3 I used really up until about a month or so ago, but that was still getting a lot of miles, especially during my marathon training block. And the Pro 3, well, that was broken back out this weekend. I'll put all of the mileages on screen for these shoes, how many I've got in them. But these three have been an absolute staple in my running shoe rotation. They were more so obviously last year, but still going strong into this year, especially the Pro. I have no intention of retiring those, even though they're about 242 miles. They're still going strong, a great training shoe, probably not quite up to racing now, but still absolutely fantastic. Just a shoe that keeps on giving. The Nova Blast 3 from Asics and the Zoomfly 5 from Nike are another two that I've used a fair bit this year, probably the Nova Blast more so than the Zoomfly 5, but this thing got pretty much retired in and around early stages of my marathon training block, but when that was done, I broke it back out. And if you've been following the channel recently, you'll know that I've just got this over 300 miles. So this one's going really strong. Not running it as much as the moment. I'm wondering if a bit of the knee pain I was suffering with not so long ago was down to this shoe. I was putting a lot of miles in this thing. And I'm just starting to wonder if softer midsoles aren't my friend, or they're okay but in moderation. I don't know, maybe the stabilizer muscles are working in overdrive because I was running them in so much. I'm not sure yet, haven't worked it out, but still plenty of miles left in it. And the Zoomfly 5, haven't run in it for a couple of months now, but again, this got a few runs out during my marathon training block. And again, I'll put the mileage on screen for this thing, but this thing is still going strong, plenty of life left in it. And these two have been staples this year as well. And finally, another one I've been really enjoying that I picked up in and around Christmas time last year, I think it was, or just before, is the Adios Pro 3. This one has got a load of miles in this year as well. In fact, predominantly it's been used this year because I picked it up very much at the back end of last year. And I really, really love this shoe. This is great. Adidas finally making my UK size 13, so I'm able to try them. We'll talk about another Adidas shoe shortly that I picked up this year that I'm in love with. It's incredible. But this thing needs a big shout out. Really, really enjoyed this shoe. Definitely not top end speed. I still prefer the Vaporfly version 1 for my racing option, but I have raced in this shoe and I'm doing a lot of longer training runs in it. Really, really great, really comfortable, really cushioned. Midsole is incredible, and this one's great. The other shoe that I probably should have here that I should give a shout out to is the Next Percent version 2. I've got a few pairs of those and I've been using those a lot more in training. Don't tend to race in them, but for training they're brilliant, especially the older pairs. And so I've been using those a lot as well. For the longer sessions and the longer runs as well, I've put a decent chunk of miles in some Vaporfly version 2s. So that's pretty much it. There are more shoes from 2022 that I've rolled over, but they really have minimal miles in them. These are the ones that I really wanted to give a bit of a shout out to. So let's roll in to the 2023 versions. So let's kickstart with the easy day stuff. So I've had the 361 Centauri. That was actually sent to me just before the new year, but they officially released on January the 1st. I think they've got to 100 miles or nearly 100 miles. These were a real surprise package. Really enjoyed them, more so than some of the other easy shoes that I was testing at the time. And these were great. I think I'd never tried the brand before, 361, and they just came as a bit of a surprise. The only letdown with the shoe was the grip on the bottom. Not particularly the best grip, but the midsole's really comfy. Very Pegasus-like shoe, but I actually prefer it to the Pegasus, to be honest with you. They're more comfy, and the midsole is really, really nice. So this really got a good rating for me. Really, really enjoyed it. It was a great shoe. The Saucony Guide 16 is another shoe that was very kindly sent to me by Saucony. Haven't put too many miles in it, gonna be honest with you. It's good, but I've got better Saucony shoes. Probably one of my least favorite Saucony shoes that I've tested, in all honesty. And I do try and be honest. I know this shoe was sent to me and I'm very, very grateful, but I've got to be honest with you, I prefer other Saucony shoes. The Shift was brilliant. This one is just a little bit lifeless, not quite as bouncy and responsive as some of the others. It is a supportive shoe. I'd call it mild support. And it's great, it is cushioned, it is very nice, but I've not been inspired to run in it. And the other one I really should include in here, which I completely forgot to bring for this video, but I've literally just run in it today, is the Puma Forever Nitro, my bright orange shoe. I'm really enjoying that one now. That one's great, and that one is very close to 100 miles. That one has become a bit of a favorite for me, if I'm honest with you. It took a while to get into it, but really, really comfortable, really nice and cushioned, but supportive elements in there. Helps soak up the miles, keeps the legs feeling good and fresh. Unlike the Nova Blast, but I think because of the supportive elements in it, allows me to run in a nice soft cushioned shoe, but sort of keeps my ankle nice and stable, which I think is what I need, to be honest with you. And yeah, I really highly recommend that one. So those are the 3 Easy Day shoes that have been released this year that I've been enjoying. And some of the more speedier options I've tried this year that have been released, the Brooks Hyperion Max and the North Face Summit Vective. I'll just start with this one very quickly. This one was gifted, well, both of these again were gifted to me. Very, very grateful for that. This one hasn't had too much use in it. Again, I really love this shoe. It is fantastic, carbon plated trail shoe. I say trail shoe lightly, I know it is a trail shoe. The lugs are very, very small, so I'd say it's not for a technical terrain in the slightest. I moved very smoothly, fast and swiftly across the type of trails that I run on, which is very flat, buffed out, sort of fire track trails, nothing technical at all. And they were great. They literally sort of, for that terrain, 10 out of 10. That's what these things are designed for. I moved well, I was very efficient in them, midsole was great, winged carbon plate which comes out the sides here, and I really, really enjoyed them. A very efficient shoe. I guess I've just been enjoying other shoes as well, but this has been a solid option in there too. And then of course, you guys know, the Brooks Hyperion Max, 412, 416-ish miles I think before I ended up retiring it. Up there with the best shoe of 2023 so far. It's a near perfect shoe. Got me through a marathon training block and beyond into my recent 10K training series before I've had to retire it. There's nothing that the shoe can't do. I've enjoyed easy runs all the way up to interval workouts and everything in between, long runs, long run workouts, speed work, you name it, this thing can handle it. This has been an absolute shining star in and amongst a load of other great shoes. This is outstanding. And then finally, in terms of racing options and faster tempo stuff, I guess, the Nike Vaporfly 3 and the Adidas Takumi Sen 9. Not sure which one. Okay, let's start with the Takumi Sen 9. This is my most recent purchase with my own money, and I've got to say this with the Brooks Hyperion Max are the 2 shoes this year that stand out above the rest. This thing is incredible. I bought it when I retired the Brooks Hyperion Max. I very quickly realized that it's not going to cover the same type of work. I feel like the Brooks Hyperion Max has a bigger range. I'd feel comfortable running longer in that shoe, maybe not quite as long in this shoe, but this one is faster. This one is fast to the point where I feel like I could race in it. I prefer this to the Adios Pro 3. I feel light, fast, nimble, and Lightstrike Pro is like nothing else I can compare it to. The midsole, that is, it's outstanding. So this again is right up there above all the other great shoes. This is outstanding with the Hyperion Max. And then the Zoom Fly 3, really love this update. Definitely progress from version 2. I'm very much coming to the conclusion though it's not quite as good as version 1. I raced in it recently. I didn't have the best of races, and you know sometimes that mindset, if you don't have a good race in it, can often negatively impact how you feel on the shoe. Try not to let that happen, because I've had 2 or 3 good runs in it before, sort of training runs, and I do prefer it to version 2 for sure. I think just like a lot of shoes nowadays, they've become a little bit more safe, a little bit more stable, a little bit wider, and so they've lost that edge, and I feel like this has probably lost that edge. It's exactly what I felt when I was racing. In the second half of the race, I felt like I wasn't getting that snapback that I was quite getting with version 1 in this shoe. Having said that, the fit and everything works really well for me. I do really enjoy it, and I think this is a really solid update from Nike. So there we go, that's my 2023 running shoe rotation. There is actually one other shoe that I haven't included in this. That's the Nike Terra Kyger 9, a trail shoe. I did get sent that one. I was very grateful. Again, I took it out out for a test run, I just wasn't impressed with it. It wasn't as good as the previous version. I really loved the previous version, but I feel like this one has put on a bit of weight. It's not quite got the same DNA as the previous version. I felt like the previous version, although it was a little bit heavier, it felt on foot light. Sometimes you get those shoes that are a little bit heavy, but actually when you run in them, they feel really good, smooth, fast, nimble, light. They feel good. They work with you. I didn't feel the 9 did. Whatever updates they've done with it, it wasn't for me. So I haven't included that in this video. I haven't actually produced a review on it, to be brutally honest with you. So that one's been kind of shelved, if I'm honest. Sorry, Nike. But other than that, these are all the shoes that I've tested this year, and of course the 2022 models that have come through with me. And I'm looking forward to the remainder of the year. A few shoes that I want to really test out. Now Adidas are producing my size, I definitely want to try and get into more of their shoes. The Pro 3 is great, the Takumi Sen's fantastic. I'd love to try the Prime X. I tried it once. Tim Gross very kindly, when we met up, let me try his because we're the same size. They felt very wobbly. Apparently they take a while to get used to. When you get used to them, they're brilliant. So I definitely like to try that. Hoka are producing some great shoes. I'd love to have tried the Rocket X. Sadly, they haven't gone up to my size. I'm hoping at some point they do. That'd be great. The new Mac X is in my size, so again, that's one I'm keeping my eye on. Some Asics shoes, I'm really hoping that eventually, for whatever reason, they get up to my size. That would be great. The Nike Ultrafly, that looks really exciting for the trail version. And there's just a few on my radar that I'm really looking forward to trying. I'd love to hear from you guys what your standout shoes have been in 2023 as well. Please do drop them in the comments, and any recommendations for me. I'm always on the hunt for more shoes. Right now, a long run shoe is something I'm in the market for because my Hyperion Max is now gone. So something like that. I don't want to be using my carbon plate shoes. Any long run recommendations that light, fast, non-plated, love to hear from you so that I can see if I can check those out. That's it from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider giving it a like, share it with your friends, and of course subscribe to the channel for weekly running content. I'll see you on the next one. Until then.